What occurs when a prosperous country permits many thousands to be neglected, abandoned, to struggle for existence on the pavement? In Los Angeles, Skid Row has emerged as a chilling emblem of this disaster, where destitution isn't merely common, it's surging.
Well, Skid Row is it's a trap. Even though they have resources to help you, but it's a trap because it's a lot of the world going on out here, as in drugs and prostitution and partying. And if you get caught up in that stuff, it could ruin your life. You know, and I came down here and unfortunately I got involved in it. And it took me to destruction.
Formerly a flourishing neighborhood, it's currently a site where citizens who formerly owned residences are compelled to inhabit tents, huts, and on walkways. How has a district once packed with potential transformed into a beacon of hopelessness? What will be required to reverse the trend and revive faith in this overlooked section of the town? Remain with us while we reveal the rooted origins of this tragedy and examine the critical steps required to foster progress. The reality of homelessness in Skid Row. Skid Row, situated within central Los Angeles, has turned into a representation of the rising indigence emergency throughout the United States.
A place you would never want to experience if you're a homeless person. Los Angeles is the #1 city for homeless, and they call it Skid Row. And it's not a nice place to be.
Following the recent 2024 Los Angeles homeless census, roughly 3,091 persons are enduring displacement on Skid Row, with nearly 2,112 among them residing outdoors, resting in tarp-screwed structures or merely upon the pavements. This district has historically been recognized as the core of displacement in Los Angeles, where the density of unhoused residents greatly surpasses that of alternative communities within the municipality. Yet, how was this permitted? How did a wealthy metropolis like Los Angeles, possessing such vast assets, permit a demographic of this magnitude to vanish from sight? The actuality of displacement on Skid Row extends past a deficiency of lodging. For numerous, it is a perpetual struggle with indigent psychiatric disorders, chemical dependency, and bodily wellness problems.
I didn't know how to find them. I've been on Skid Row for 8 years, and I've been out here looking for them since then. I was trying to get in drug programs and straighten my life out and get things right. But I couldn't, I failed. And so they took them away from me.
The displaced community is varied, including people from every background, though the aged are uniquely defenseless. Many senior citizens find themselves upon the asphalt due to rising lease costs, crushing clinical debts, or individual tragedies. Once they forfeit their dwellings, fleeing the thoroughfares grows almost unattainable. With restricted entry to clinics, psychiatric assistance, and lasting shelter, these persons endure a steep battle for endurance. One regional project seeks to highlight these circumstances, providing an exhaustive view of the hurdles encountered by the unhoused demographic on Skid Row. It reveals the hardships of citizens who have existed for decades, lacking steady residence, giving a platform to those who are frequently ignored. Via such projects, the magnitude of the emergency grows indisputable. The state is critical, and the requirement for durable fixes that tackle both fleeting and structural origins is more vital than before. This continuing disaster is not solely a Skid Row matter. It mirrors a bigger trend of displacement that reaches throughout the land. With millions of citizens existing, lacking steady lodging, Skid Row's hardships are a distressing memento of the wider issue of homeless in America. The crisis of addiction, fentanyl and meth. Dependency is among the leading catalysts of displacement on Skid Row, with narcotics like fentanyl and crystal meth stoking a loop of hopelessness that many cannot evade. The influence of these chemicals on persons existing on the asphalt is deep, sustaining their fragility and rendering it still tougher to shatter free from the brutal truths they encounter hourly. Fentanyl, a potent narcotic, has emerged as one of the most ruinous powers on Skid Row. For those already wrestling with psychiatric disorders, shock or economic volatility, fentanyl offers a momentary exit, permitting people to deaden their agony for a short period. Nonetheless, this passing comfort arrives at a catastrophic price. The substance's intense habit-forming traits rapidly seize control, snaring users in a loop of reliance that intensifies their displacement. The further they depend on fentanyl, the less probable they are to request or obtain the assistance they require. Many find themselves powerless to preserve any fragment of consistency, as their existences grow swallowed by the requirement for the following dose. Crystal meth also assumes a major function in stoking the dependency disaster on Skid Row. Similar to fentanyl, meth provides a temporary feeling of comfort, frequently granting users a surge of vigor and a feeling of flight from the bleak truth of inhabiting the thoroughfares. However, the results are brief, and once they dissipate, persons are left sensing even more secluded and frantic. Meth users on Skid Row grow progressively disconnected from the society around them, making it tough for them to interact with programs or relief networks that might result in healing. The merger of fentanyl and meth has intensified the displacement disaster on Skid Row. These narcotics not only stoke dependency, but also segregate persons from their neighbourhoods, building hurdles to healing and sustaining the loop of displacement. With every passing sun, their reliance on these chemicals hardens, making it still tougher to flee the walkways. The outcome is a ruinous vortex where dependency nourishes displacement, and displacement renders dependency tougher to defeat. This persistent disaster on Skid Row emphasises the critical requirement for inclusive answers that tackle both the dependency scourge and the displacement disaster concurrently. Without confronting the fundamental origins of dependency ventures to terminate the homeless in America, crisis in spots like Skid Row shall persist to fail. What's behind the homelessness crisis in Skid Row? This film reveals the fundamental causes of Skid Row's displacement emergency, a misfortune propelled by organisational breakdowns far past dependency alone. These origins are firmly embedded in the communal, fiscal and administrative frameworks impacting Los Angeles and the nation. Primarily, the low-cost residence emergency is a major offender. Since the 1980s, Los Angeles' property sector has surged with high-end suites appearing quickly. Still, merely 5% of fresh lodging initiatives from 2015 to 2024 were earmarked for low-pay inhabitants, leaving low-cost choices minimal. Lease rates have climbed. Average rent in LA jumped 30% from 2010 to 2024, squeezing the seniors on set pay and low-pay labourers. For many, a lone fiscal blow, such as a $5,000 clinic invoice, signifies removal and a one-way trip to Skid Row's pavements. Secondly, rising subsistence prices intensify the issue. Supplies, clinical care and transit in LA have turned unreachable for many. For senior occupants frequently surviving on tiny stipends or low-paying roles, one sudden cost of vehicle fix or clinic visit can slide into displacement. In 2023, 40% of Skid Row's unhoused cited losing shelter due to such fiscal jolts, a figure this film stresses to highlight the frailty of fiscal firmness. Thirdly, psychiatric disorders worsened by a damaged relief network snare many in Skid Row. Past 30% of the district's unhoused battle with serious psychiatric health trials. Yet LA's low-budget psychiatric wellness programs, trimmed by 25% since 2008, provide scant aid. Lacking care, these persons cannot obtain work or shelter sustaining their hardship. Lastly, the weakening of America's communal safety net has left millions defenseless. Since the Reagan period, national support for social lodging dropped by 70%, and regional schemes like LeaseAid have shrunk. Organisational biases also assume apart black citizens, 40% of LA's demographic, comprise 60% of Skid Row's unhoused, mirroring gaps in shelter and work entry. This film shows how statute breakdowns and gain-focused expansion have rendered Skid Row a final sanctuary for those societies that have failed. The impact of homelessness on the city. Skid Row's displacement emergency echoes past its frontiers, taxing Los Angeles' medical care, civic security, and fiscal vigor. This growing problem tests the municipality's ability to assist all inhabitants, necessitating a confrontation with its wider ramifications. The medical network is under pressure. Numerous unhoused persons fighting lingering maladies, psychiatric health trials, or dependency crowd urgent care. In 2023, Lac Plesioski Medical Center cited 35% of ER visits came from unhoused sufferers with lingering waits reaching past 12 hours. Fentanyl poisonings alone caused 20% of these incidents, stalling centers and slowing care for every Angelino. Fatigued employees struggle to manage weakening the town's general medical standards. Civic security encounters growing hurdles. While most unhoused persons are peaceful, Skid Row's broad settlements stoke anxiety among nearby occupants and firms. Police records show a 15% jump in minor thefts and civic unrest in neighbouring zones from 2020 to 2024, frequently linked to ignored psychiatric illness or desperation. Constables spread thin balance pity with policing shifting assets from alternative districts. Fiscally, the emergency takes a massive toll. A locally owned eatery on 6th Street cited a 25% fall in patrons since 2020 as travellers avoid Skid Row's tent-covered pavements. The town's 2024 budget set $1.3 billion for refugees sanitation and programs draining capital from schooling and building projects. This sharp variance, ragged tarps versus downtown's shiny skyscrapers, reveals LA's profound imbalance. Internationally, Los Angeles' reputation as a radiant spot weakens. Travellers to nearby artistic centres like the Arts District see Skid Row's bleak truth, discouraging future visits. A 2023 report noted a 10% fall in downtown business funding tied to views of volatility. How can a town noted for aspirations permit such misery to endure? What will be needed to unite Angelenos to respond? These inquiries force us to view Skid Row's disaster as a shared letdown, urging united effort to fix the town's potential and address the homeless in America crisis. Solutions being implemented. To combat the displacement disaster, especially on Skid Row, several remedies are presently being executed. These ventures prioritise not only granting fleeting aid, but also tackling the deep-seated origins of indigence, striving for lasting, viable transformation. One of the most notable programs is the Skid Row Action Plan, created by the municipality of Los Angeles to offer all-inclusive aid to the unhoused demographic. This strategy involves efforts to boost low-cost lodging availability, broaden entry to medical care and psychiatric wellness programs, and provide schemes centred on vocational training and chemical dependency healing. The objective is to offer more than just fleeting refuges. It strives to present durable fixes that confront the intricate structural elements adding to displacement in the district. Another central tactic is the Housing First framework, which has been utilised in various sections of Los Angeles, including Skid Row. The concept behind Housing First is basic: provide unhoused persons consistent lodging initially, without demanding they settle problems like dependency or psychiatric disorders beforehand. And once people possess a protected firm location to inhabit, they are more probable to thrive in tackling these additional hurdles. This framework has shown success in lowering displacement in municipalities across the US, and Los Angeles is steadily broadening its application of this tactic. However, executing these remedies involves major obstacles. Capital remains a primary hurdle, as constructing low-cost lodging in a town with peaking property costs is remarkably pricey. The municipality's funding is already spread thin, and additional assets are required to expand these programs. Furthermore, civic opposition in certain communities complicates the building of fresh lodging or psychiatric wellness centres. Regardless of these hurdles, the Housing First framework appears hopeful, and if further assets are granted to it, it might present a durable fix for many of those inhabiting Skid Row. Charitable groups also assume a vital function in granting fleeting aid. Collectives like the Los Angeles Mission and the Downtown Women's Centre are presenting basic programs including food clinical care and fleeting shelter. Many of these groups also offer durable healing schemes, assisting persons in returning to society and finding consistent work. While these programs are essential, they frequently function under restricted capital and struggle to satisfy the rising requirement. Despite the constructive actions taken, there is still a vast distance to travel. The magnitude of the issue is enormous, and resolving the homeless in America emergency necessitates synchronized ventures among state bureaus, charities, firms, and regional neighborhoods. Only via persistent teamwork can we anticipate achieving significant advancement. The future of Skid Row, open amid the challenges. Scanning forward, the destiny of Skid Row stays precarious. While improvements have surfaced particularly with the start of Housing First and alternative relief tactics, the issue is far from over. The unhoused demographic in Los Angeles persists in rising, and lacking major investment and more unified effort, the state will merely deteriorate. One of the most urgent hurdles is the accessibility of low-cost lodging. Even though ventures are being made to construct more low-income shelter, the requirement greatly outpaces the supply. Lease costs in Los Angeles are soaring, rendering it nearly unattainable for those already vulnerable to displacement to remain sheltered. The price of living in the town is simply too extreme, specifically for low-pay occupants and seniors surviving on set pay. With minimal low-cost choices, many persons are sinking further into the loop of displacement. Furthermore, the municipality's communal safety net stays insufficient. While the Skid Row Action Plan and Housing First are constructive leaps, they solely tackle a fragment of the issue. Psychiatric wellness programs and dependency healing schemes stay underfunded and understaffed, leaving many persons lacking the assistance they require. Until these fundamental problems are confronted, the loop of displacement will persist. The destiny of Skid Row, and by extension, the destiny of displacement across the country, hinges on whether towns like Los Angeles can arise to tackle this hurdle. Resolving displacement isn't merely about granting refuge. It's about building a society that respects human worth and grants the vital assets to assist people in rebuilding their existences. The belief is that with persistent attention on programs like Housing First broadening psychiatric wellness programs and granting more low-cost lodging, we can flip the trend of the homeless in America crisis not merely on Skid Row, but throughout the nation. Personal perspective. Journeying throughout the United States, I've witnessed the growing gap between riches and indigence. Yet, Skid Row's emergency strikes deepest. In this section of Los Angeles, imbalances exposed shelters, border roads, where aspirations once flourished. I encountered Maria, a 67-year-old ex-educator currently residing in a plastic refuge after clinical bills seized her residence. Her narrative, like myriad others, uncovers a reality. Displacement isn't merely a lodging matter. It's an organisational letdown stoked by soaring leases, weakened security nets, and ignored psychiatric wellness assistance. This disaster necessitates more than compassion. It compels us to view individuals like Maria as people, not figures. Our fixation with gain has obscured our view of the defenceless, permitting them to drop through fissures expanded by eras of legislative disregard. Since the 1980s, reductions to social lodging and psychiatric wellness support decreased 70% and 25% specifically have birthed Skid Rows coast to coast. Progress begins with prioritising worth over wealth. We require a community that funds low-cost shelter psychiatric wellness assistance and dependency healing to elevate the most fragile. You can assist, serve at Los Angeles Mission Support Housing First strategies, or reach town leaders to insist on more capital. If we neglect to respond, how many additional Marias will we desert to the pavements? The moment for transformation is today, and it starts with us and the homeless in America. Conclusion. The matter of displacement on Skid Row is not a solitary one. It represents a segment of a much broader emergency that is affecting municipalities throughout the United States. As we have observed, the origins are intricate and the remedies are not basic. While advancement is being achieved, significantly more remains to be accomplished to tackle the fundamental causes of displacement and present durable fixes. Skid Row is a site that embodies the imbalance and hurdles of the homeless in America crisis, and it acts as a memento that we must all participate in the fix. The inquiry is, will we rise to the hurdle, or will we persist in letting persons drop through the fissures? Only duration will reveal, but for currently, the unhoused in America, and specifically on Skid Row, require our focus and effort more than ever.